Well, hello. This is a little weird, I'll admit. My name is Zach. I'm the face behind FPV 412. I'm also the person behind Flight 412 Creative. I wanted to talk a little bit about my first experience at a music festival. In this case, the Newcastle Music Festival out of, shockingly, Newcastle, Pennsylvania. So I've actually been flying drones and FPV for a little while now, starting back in December of 2024. Fast forward to August of 2026, I've actually gained experience shooting automotive content, drift, real estate, event coverage, action sports such as BMX. I've earned my FA Part 107 certificate, so kind of trying to do everything by the books. But one niche that I haven't really broken into yet is live music, and with the eventual goal of flying at an EDM festival such as Lost Lands, I knew something kind of needed to change there. I knew that I needed to get some live music footage in my portfolio. What I wasn't expecting for my first festival, though, was for Ryan Cabrera to poke my drone not once but twice while I was flying it. So what I actually ended up doing was I reached out to a few different music festivals, and one that got back to me within literally like 5 to 10 minutes was the Newcastle Music Festival. The organizers were pretty excited about the idea of having a drone capture the artists, so they were extremely accommodating. They hooked me up with a place to set up my canopy, table, all that fun stuff, and a dedicated spot to fly from throughout the day. It was nice and elevated away from most of the people. So I didn't really have too many people stop by and try to figure out, what I was doing. So I appreciate everything that they did there. It was really good. So after accepting the gig, I was looking at my lineup of drones, and I was trying to figure out which drone would make the most sense, because I knew I was going to be bringing my DJI Mini 4 Pro to get nice cinematic aerials, but I was a little nervous about flying my Avata 2 for close-ups around the stage. One might ask why. Well, the Avata 2, it relies pretty heavily on vision sensors if you're flying it in normal and sport mode, as well as its satellite lock to be able to maintain its position. But let's say if the satellite lock were to be a little unreliable, and if the lighting were to be pretty bad, there's a chance that in normal or sport mode, it'll kind of enter this different mode to where it'll actually just kind of stop responding to inputs. That's a problem if you're flying it above people or just around people, around an artist. So that's not a risk that I was really wanting to take. You could just say, well, fly the Avata 2 in manual mode then. I'm not a fan of how the Avata 2 flies in manual mode, especially when you're trying to fly slow, and especially when there's some wind, and it was a bit of a windier day. There were kind of storms. They were looming in the distance the entire time, so the Avata 2 just wasn't going to be the tool for the job. So I actually ended up getting the Pavo Pico 2. The Pavo Pico 2 has a DJI 04 Lite air unit, as some people call it. It runs with ELRS, and it's fully capable of shooting 4K 60 FPS, so that ticked all of the boxes for me. Another benefit is it runs on 2S LiPos, which if you get the Firefly Tooth Store, which is a charger, you could charge up to 4 batteries at once at a 2C charge rate, meaning they're done in about 25 minutes with whenever I land them. So what that actually ended up meaning was battery availability was never a concern throughout the entirety of the festival for me. It did come with one major limitation though, and that's actually going to be the fact that it doesn't have a micro SD card. The 04 Lite has enough internal storage for about 30 minutes of footage when you're shooting at 4K 60. So throughout the day, I was having to regularly connect the drone to my laptop and offload all the footage. Originally, I thought that was going to be annoying and a pain, but instead, since I was offloading all that footage, I took the time out to make different folders for the different artists, and I actually ended up with some of the best organized footage that I've ever come home with after an event. The actual event itself, getting there was pretty straightforward. It was a little over an hour away from where I'm from in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. When I arrived, there's a tiny bit of confusion, but on where to set up. But whenever they got me in touch with Dan, who I guess was kind of running the show, he was able to point out where I needed to go. He was able to get me electricity from a dance hall near where I was set up at, so I didn't have to run my generator. That was very appreciated. And yeah, honestly, once I was set up, I did a quick little test flight, and the drone handled the environment really well. I was really happy with it, actually. I ran into one hiccup throughout the day, though. I was about a foot off the ground to the right of the stage, and I believe, looking back at the goggle footage, the drone fail-safed. So my ELRS radio connection got a little too low. So I was immediately able to take back off. As I said, it fell all of about a foot, landed, I don't remember if it was in grass or landed on dirt, doesn't matter. But I was able to take back off, fly straight back to my canopy. No damage to the drone. I reviewed the goggle footage, and the only thing that seemed off to me was my RX link was kind of dropping at times. A little bit lower than I would have liked, so I had to do a little bit of Googling, and I figured out that if I changed my packet rate, and I also switched it from a dynamic power over to a fixed 250 milliwatts for the transmitter power, after doing that, I didn't have any other issues for the rest of the day, so that was nice. So yeah, my routine actually ended up being pretty simple for the day. I'd fly for roughly 10 to 15 minutes during each artist set, spend about 10 minutes offloading the footage and organizing it. Then I was able to take a short break before it was time for the next artist to take the stage. Yeah, I have no complaints with how things ended up working. As I said, I thought the Lite with its lack of a micro SD card was going to be an issue, but it turns out it was completely fine. Some of my favorite moments from the day were whenever artists interacted with the drone. That little interaction immediately makes the footage more memorable, kind of makes it feel like it's less of an invisible camera and more of something that someone's interacting with, so those are some of my favorite shots. We also have later in the day golden hour lined up with an artist by the name of Keiko. The sun was, so I was orbiting behind him, and the sun was on the front side of him, poking through some trees, and it was that nice, golden hour color. So some of that footage really turned out. There's also Ryan Cabrera, who was the headliner of the festival. He definitely had, really good stage presence. He's been doing this for a minute. So kind of observing how he worked and then incorporating some orbits in safely. So I didn't, have any close calls with him. Gave me some good footage from the day, for sure. Luckily, I didn't have any close calls with any of the artists. That was something that I had to constantly think about while flying, was I had to kind of pay attention, as I was saying, with how each artist handles the stage, and react accordingly. Especially whenever I'm trying to go for those orbits behind, because I wanted to be able to show the artist and looking from the stage to the audience. So those were definitely some of my favorite shots. But despite trying to be as safe as I could, Ryan obviously had some other plans. As he chased the drone down trying to poke it. So that was a fun experience. I'm glad he did that. Gave me some pretty memorable footage, that's for sure. One of the biggest challenges from the day, I'd actually say, was the height of the stage. Since it's a smaller festival, the stage wasn't really raised very much. So what that means is that where the artist's feet were was essentially where the people, the audience's heads were. So if I try to do wider sweeping shots at the front of the stage, it's a little bit more difficult because there wasn't really that much room for me to work with. So I definitely want to try to avoid as many variables as I can that aren't in my control, such as if someone wanted to jump up and try to grab the drone. That would not be good. So I limited how many times I did that, mainly whenever there wasn't many people by it. Like a lot of times there's just like other photographers and stuff, because a lot of the fans kind of set up further back with lawn chairs and stuff, and they were kind of hiding in the shade. It was a little bit of a hotter day and humidity was pretty gross. I'm not really sure what the ideal solution for that is though in those situations, because like I do have the Mini 4 Pro, which can gimbal the camera down, but the Mini 4 Pro is a little bit louder, larger, and it would just be more of a distraction both to the audience and to the artist. So I really don't want to do that if I can help it. So that's just something I'm going to continue experimenting with as I shoot, more live music. I would also like to eventually upgrade the Pavo Pico 2 from the 04 Lite to the 04 Pro. Reason being is just I want the larger field of view. I do prefer working in D-Log M from the 04 Pro, which is what I've kind of gotten used to. And the low light performance is definitely better with an 04 Pro, but the 04 Lite definitely handled the day better than I was expecting. So it is definitely a fully capable drone shooting 4K 60 FPS with absolutely no issues in my goggles. It was awesome. So what's going to be next for me? Well, at this point, I've actually, I've added an entirely new type of work to my portfolio, live music and festival coverage, and I've actually already started networking with some local bands and promoters around Pittsburgh, so that's going to give me some more opportunities to get some more footage. Ultimately, though, this is kind of what I was hoping to get from my first festival. I got to experiment with a new style of, kind of like flying, very different from, drift and sports and all the other things that I've done before, leading up to this. I got to meet some new people and came home with some footage that I'm happy with. Hopefully this is going to be another step towards, eventually getting an opportunity to be able to fly something like a Lost Lens. So I guess we'll just have to see, right? But yeah, if you've made it this far, I do appreciate you watching the entire video. If you want to follow along as I continue figuring out, FPV and media, definitely consider subscribing. I do appreciate it. But yeah, I guess we'll just kind of see where this goes, and I'll see you in the next one.